Hello and welcome to this video on Azure Global Infrastructure. My name is Balram Prasad and I'm working with Microsoft as a senior software engineer. In this video, we will explore the geography of Azure, Azure region, and related keywords, related concepts. And in this video, we are going to talk about this concept and try to understand. So in next video, I am going to do a virtual tour of one data center so that we can better understand this concept. Understanding global infrastructure consisting of region, ability zone, and this concept ensure that we are going to incorporate this concept while designing our application and where we are going to deploy this application and how we can use this concept to build a highly available, scalable, and reliable service. Understanding Azure's global infrastructure is essential for anyone working with Azure. Either it is a beginner or advanced user. What is Azure Global Infrastructure? Azure operates on a vast global network of data centers located around the world. This global infrastructure allows Azure to deliver cloud service reliably and efficiently to consumers worldwide. So there are 200 plus physical data center which is arranged into different regions and linked by interconnected networks on the planet. With this connectivity of this region and Azure network, each of Azure data center provides high availability, low latency, scalability, and latest advancement in cloud infrastructure. So let's talk about what is Azure data center. So if you see this screen, the first one, that world is divided into different geography, and then geography can have one to multiple regions. In multiple regions, that region can have one to multiple data center. Azure data center are unique physical buildings located all over the globe. And this data center is housing a group of network computer servers. And then this data center are connected with different data centers. Azure provides more than 100 redundant secure facilities worldwide linked with a network. And that help us to keep data secure and compliant with local laws. We know that there are different laws around the globe for keeping data inside that region or inside that country. We can pick the region and sometime availability zone where we want to deploy our resources. We can't select a specific data center or location within a data center. If we go into portal, and we have seen into multiple videos, when we select that one, we have to select region. And when we do pairing of the services for DCDR purpose or geo-replication purpose, then we have to select one or multiple region. So what is Azure geography? Azure's data center are spread across multiple geographic regions. Each region consists of one or multiple data centers that are located into a specific geographical area. Azure currently has more than 60 regions worldwide, covering almost every continent. If we see this image, geography can contain one or multiple region, and region can have region pairings, right? So one region can be paired with another, and then inside region we will have multiple ability zone. So this geography is defined by geopolitical boundaries or country borders, right? That's how, if you have any law particular that hey, this data should not move around from Europe region, then you can use that region to host your services. And that is one of the major law, data residency, right? Defines that where you can host your data, where you can keep the data of depending upon what kind of data you have. And it is very much important factor when we decide, when we choose our regions where we are going to deploy our resources. Now let's talk about Azure region. So Azure regions are separate geographic area with their own data center and that are connected through a dedicated high speed network. Each Azure region is designed to provide a high level of availability, scalability, and fault tolerance. When deploying resources in Azure, we have to choose the region that best suit our needs. There are several special regions also, like Azure government. There are different regions for US government, Virginia or Iowa, or there are different regions for China East and China North. And some services might be available depending upon these regions. So there might be a possibility that if you are looking for service which might not be available into that data center. So what is availability zones? Within some Azure region, there are availability zones. Availability zones are physically separate data center within a region, each with their own power, cooling, and networking infrastructure. This ability zone are connected through low latency link to provide redundancy and fault tolerance. By distributing resources across this ability zone, we can ensure availability and resilience for our applications. And if we have seen that one in multiple video, when we choose that region in location, then we choose that if we want to go with ability zone or how many ability zone we want to use, that also we can see. And it also set up isolation boundary where if one zone goes down, other continue working. But it can cost more if we are using these services. We need to check that one if we really require these services, because if your compute and storage are replicated around these data centers, then you can cost more. Let's talk about region pairs. Each Azure region is always paired with another region with same geography. Like West US is paired with East US, Southeast Asia is paired with East Asia. And generally these regions which is paired, they are at least 300 miles away. So that if any flood comes or anything like that, natural disaster comes, then at least it will be less impacted because of this distance. If one region in this pair fails, services will automatically fail over to other region in this its region pair. That is why this pairing works. The another benefit is that data is going to continue resides with same geography at its pairs. And if any outage is going to happen, one of the region is going to be prioritized to make sure at least one region is restored as quickly as possible. When planned Azure updates are rolled out first in one pair and then in second pair, so that minimize the downtime and risk of application outage. What is Azure Global Network? So Azure Global Network refers to all of the component in networking, and it comprises of Microsoft Global Wide Network Area, that is WAN, and point of presence, fiber, and others. What is Azure Edge Zones? Azure Edge Zones are footprint extension of Azure placed in densely populated area. So when you run in some latency sensitive applications, then you try to use these services so that before going to any data center, if anything is locally available as Azure Edge, then you can get the fast response for that services, and it will be very much close to users. That's how that services runs, and you can build some low latency services. What is Azure Space? Azure Space is a set of cloud enabled solutions and services offered by Microsoft Azure that are especially designed for the space industry. Azure Space aims to empower organizations in the space sector to innovate, explore, and connect using Azure robust cloud infrastructure and capabilities. Azure Space provides a range of services and offering tailored for the unique requirement of the space industry. This includes satellite connectivity, enabling organizations to communicate with their assets in space and collect data from satellite. Azure Space also offers ground station services, allowing organizations to downlink and process satellite data in real time. What is Azure Orbital? Azure Orbital is a service within Azure Space that focuses specifically on satellite communication and connectivity. It provides ground station as a service capabilities, allowing organizations to communicate with their satellite in orbit, efficiently manage their space-based assets. With Azure Orbital, organizations can leverage Microsoft global network of ground stations to downlink data from satellite, uplink commands and instruction to the satellites, and perform various other communication tasks. This service simplifies the process of establishing and managing ground station infrastructure, reducing the barriers to entry for organizations wanting to participate in a space industry. What is Microsoft Global Wide Area Network? The Microsoft Global Wide Area Network WAN connects hundred of this data center which we are talking in previous slides in different regions, different geography around the world, and offers high availability and capacity with the flexibility to immediately respond in unpredictable demand spikes. The global WAN is critical in delivering a great cloud service experience. What is Azure Point of Presence? Azure POP refers to a location within Microsoft Global Network that serves an entry and exit point from network traffic. POP are strategically distributed in various locations around the world to provide efficient and optimized connectivity for Azure services. Azure POPs are designed to reduce latency and improve network performance by bringing Azure services closer to end user and consumer network. They act as a local interconnected points where network traffic is exchanged between Azure backbone network and local ISPs like public networks, internet, and other things, or CDNs and other network partners. So we talked about two of this kind of services, Azure Edge Zone and POP, but basically both are serves different purpose. Azure Edge Zones are extension of Azure that bring compute and storage and network resources closer to user. And POP, in other hand, are location within Azure network where network traffic is exchanged between Azure backbone network and ISPs or CDNs. So Azure Regional Gateways are networking resources within Microsoft that provides connectivity and routing capability between virtual networks and on-premises network in a specific Azure region. They act as a gateway to facilitate secure and reliable communication between the different networks. Regional networks gateways are typically used in scenario where you need to establish a communication between Azure Virtual Network and on-premises network. This is one of the example of portable data center. This is another example of underwater data center. So let's talk about net zero. So net zero is refers to achieving the balance between amount of greenhouse gas emission produced by these data centers and amount removed from atmosphere, right? So they somewhere this data center are emitting that these are gases and different things, right? And somewhere we plant trees and other thing different things so that we are removing that kind of gases from atmosphere. So that's where Microsoft is committed to go for not zero and negative also, carbon negative also, and there are different things like zero waste and other things. So that whatever this data center might be harming to the climate and other things that can be fixed with fixing some of the things over there. And this is what I wanted to cover in this video. I hope you will like this video. In next video, we will do a data center virtual tour. Thank you.